Well, it's the House passage of House Bill 472, which is a truly significant piece of insurance legislation. I have often said that since Katrina, the next crisis that during my tenure I had to face was the implementation of Obamacare. And we have all seen the challenges that came with that, not just for us coastal states, as hurricanes represent, but for all of America. And the reinsurance program, originally part of the Affordable Care Act, worked as designed. And now states are being given the option to do it on their own at the state level. But it does cost money to prime the pump, if you will, and access the federal dollars that come with the program. Several states have done it successfully already. We have hired Oliver Wyman, a national actuarial firm that studied our market and a half dozen other states for this proposal, and they have been very positive in their report on the effect it will have on the cost of individual health insurance policies that have been spiraling upward for the past several years.
How would the program work?
We would impose a fee, as was done in the federal reinsurance program for the first 3 years of the Affordable Care Act, a fee on every insured life, group, ERISA plans, self-insured plans. All of them would pay about $1.50 a month, and that fee would be pooled, that money would be pooled, about $25 million a year, and access another $100 million of federal dollars that would flow to our state to implement a reinsurance program on individual health policies that would start at the $45,000 per year level and stop at the $250,000 per year level. It reinsures the risk of companies writing individual health policies. We had 16 companies doing that. When the Affordable Care Act was first passed 5 years ago, we're down to 2. Both of them are Louisiana domestics. Vantage, a doctor-owned facility in Monroe, Louisiana, and Blue here in Baton Rouge. They have been very dedicated and loyal to our market. Unlike the rest of the country, frankly, where half of the zip codes in America only had one carrier doing business in the individual market, those two companies have stayed with us through significant losses and through the exodus of major national carriers like United Healthcare, like Aetna, from individual health insurance markets all across America.
What kind of an impact has it had so far on families trying to access health insurance?
Well, the spiraling cost of individual policies. This year, 18% increases following last year's 33% rate increases has dropped the number of policies in place from a high of just over 200,000 3 years ago to just over 100,000 today, evidencing and demonstrating that people are dropping out of the market because of those escalating rate increases that not just Louisiana has seen, but every individual market all across America has seen similar rate increases in the past couple of years.
If the bill is passed, when would it actually take effect?
It would take effect January 1, so that rates would go down for next calendar year. We are projecting that they would go down right at 15%, and that is inclusive of a cost for medical inflation next year of about a 6% increase in the cost of medical care for next year. So this would be significant and would, I think, immediately result in more people accessing health insurance. Right now, they can't afford it. They roll the dice, and it really threatens the stability of families, tens of thousands of families all over the state of Louisiana.
I'm supporting this bill because I have firsthand seen the how high individual insurance rates, as well as group rates for that matter, are in Louisiana. That is the business I'm in my personal life insurance, and so I've worked with a lot of business owners and individuals and have seen the high prices and how they need to come down. We need to do something.
Well, this bill is very much needed. You know, the individual market seems to be on the road to collapse in Louisiana. You know, we started out with 16 people, I believe, 8 or 9 years ago, writing health insurance in this state. In the individual market, we're down to 2. The losses are in the tens of millions, and this is a bill, or this program has been proven in other states with this reinsurance program, to lower rates in other states as high as 15 to 20%. So, you know, people move in and out of the individual market. Anytime we have people that are paying for insurance, whether it's in the individual market or not, will help everyone, will help hospitals, will help individuals in group plans. So it's something that is very much needed.
Competition is the best protector of consumers, there's no doubt, but the market is in such a downward trend that I don't expect more companies to come in overnight. I do think there'll be greater interest in the marketplace as more and more states do what we're doing. I think you heard earlier that Alaska, Oregon, and Minnesota did it last year, and Wisconsin and Maine so far this year in the ongoing legislative sessions have also done it. I've heard from my colleagues around the country expressing interest in doing it themselves and looking for a funding mechanism similar to the fee that we have in our bill that I have offered to share with other states, and I think this concept will spread. It was included in the repeal and replace measure that cleared the House of Representatives, a reinsurance program just like the one that had been in effect in the early days of the Affordable Care Act. It was included in the spending bill that was recently signed into law passed by Congress, signed into law by the President for a federal program that would have eliminated the need for us to do this. But that was jettisoned in the congressional process over coverage, federal funding of abortions, and Congress could not reconcile that conflict.
What kind of an impact is this having on families?
A huge impact. I mean, it's taken away people's opportunity to go into business for themselves. It's maybe taken away someone's ability to retire because they can't afford to get off the group plan at their employer. And it's taking people multiple jobs to have their kids or spouse covered. So it's a huge impact. When you look at a family of 4 and their individual insurance rates are $3,000, $3,500. One guy I spoke with yesterday, it was $4,200 a month. I mean, you got to work hard and have a pretty substantial job to even be able to afford that. How do you put food on the table and keep the lights on at that kind of expense? Just want to say that I'm happy to offer this bill that's received bipartisan support. Being in the insurance business myself, I've had the opportunity over years to work with people, and I can tell you, especially in the last several years, that the high cost of individual insurance, it's killing the American dream. Small businesses, individuals will benefit from lower rates in the individual market, and I think that this is a step in the right direction. So happy to bring this bill, and I think that everybody benefits from a good, healthy individual insurance market, because no matter who you work for or where you're from in Louisiana, you or your family member may need the individual market. So stabilizing that market is so important to our overall insurance industry. So happy that we have passed it through the House of Representatives and now moving on to the Senate, and looking forward to passing it there. Thank you.
How can people get more information?
Contact us at 1-800-259-5300 or call their state representative or senator. I just can't stop without thanking the bipartisan leadership that made this happen on the House side. Speaker Barra, Chairman Talbot, and Vice Chairman Tebow, the lead author on the bill, Democrat and Republican. Chairman Henry and a large percentage of the Democrat and Republican members in the House and in the committee recognized the need for this with the threat of a death spiral happening in our individual health insurance market in our state and, frankly, for that matter, in every other state across our country.